So for the 2006 BMW 330i, I decided to go with a PowerStop brake kit. I've read some mixed reviews, but all in all, I'm pretty sure they're going to do what I need them to do. The brakes that I'm replacing did not need to be replaced. They're just really noisy for some reason. So sounds like it's just a quality issue. So I got these from Rock Auto. I got obviously 2 rotors and front brake pads, and they're actually labeled which ones go where. So there's a drilled and slotted. Hopefully keep cooler. They look a lot nicer. Comes with the plugs. Some brake component lube, and the brake pads. So right now what I'm about to do is clean these off with some brake cleaner to get the factory coating and stuff off of them, and make sure that they're free of any kind of grease so they'll function properly. So let's get started on that.
So all you want to do here is basically just get some brake and parts cleaner and spray off the rotors and just wipe them off with a shop tail. All you're doing is making sure that you're getting all the grease that was left on them from the factory off so they don't contaminate your brake pads.
So this will be my first BMW YouTube video. I just bought this BMW probably 3 weeks ago. Just started making some front brake noise. So tired of hearing this, getting on my nerves. So I'm gonna change the front brakes and rotors. I'm sure it could use it. I'm sure it's not necessarily needed, but we're gonna see what we can do here. So again, this is a 2006 BMW 330i. First thing I did here was I jacked it up using the support. Right there, if you can see that. So I jacked it up there. I got some jack stands underneath it, and I'm actually in the process of taking the wheels off at this time. I got the driver's side off. The passenger side is just setting up here. But to jack the car up, make sure you leave the wheel touching so you can loosen up the lug bolts. So lug bolts, once they come off, the wheel comes off. So that's where I'm at so far. Another thing you want to do, see the driver's side on the 2006 anyways. You get the driver's side, this panel, this little hatch panel right here. Right here, here we go. So I'm going to take it and pop this off. There's two clips. I don't know if you can see them both. It's going to give me access to the brake reservoir. So I'm going to disconnect it. This is the first time I've worked on a BMW, so bear with me here. Here we go. So what I'm going to do here is suction a little bit of the fluid out to make sure that whenever I compress the caliper piston that it doesn't overflow. Alright, so after unhooking this sensor and moving it out of the way, I'm going to unscrew the cap here to make sure I don't drip any of this brake fluid on really anything. It'll definitely eat into paint. So be sure you have something ready for it whenever you take it out. And then once again, I'm going to take, I got this some kind of like seasoned turkey seasoning baster type thing I use for a lot of my suction type stuff for when I'm doing brakes. So I'm just going to put it in there and suction the fluid down, and then I'll put it into a container and I'll just keep going from there until I think I have enough room in my reservoir so it's not going to overflow. Alright, now that we got it down sufficient amount, I think we should be good whenever we go to compress the actual piston for the brake caliper. Once again, you want to make sure that you get enough out so when you compress that caliper in, the brake fluid doesn't rise over the top and spill over the reservoir. The brake fluid doesn't do that. So On to the next step. Alright, so I went ahead and did the driver's side. This is my first time changing brakes on a BMW. It's fairly simple. If you've done it before, you can probably get through this with no issues. So first off, notice that I have the wheel turned all the way to the left. So I'm on the passenger side. I have the wheel turned to the left to give me a little bit more access back here to access the bolts. So a couple of things real fast. The tools that you're going to need for this, I have some socket Allen, some hex head sockets. I got a 6 and a 7 here. I think it's the 6. Yeah. The 6 actually is a retainer right here. There's a retainer screw that holds on the rotor. So that's what you would do to remove the rotor. And then the 7 is going to be for back here. You get a couple of caps. See if I can get these off real fast. I'm going to try to do this somewhat real time without skipping a lot ahead. And still try to get some good video quality. And you'll probably hear me say this multiple times, but this is my first YouTube video. Alright, there's one cap. Got another one on the bottom. I can't see if you see that or not. Yeah, right there's another cap. So that's going to be what we take off next. Yeah. You also need a 17mm for the lug bolts and a 18 for the bracket that holds the caliper on. Let's see here. Let me set this down for a minute. And obviously make sure you get a really good seat whenever you're taking these Allen bolts out. You don't want to strip them. Alright. We got that one, and then we got one more here. Alright. Should be good. Alright, let's see what we got. Alright, we also have this retainer right here for the brake pads. So I'm going to try to get this out and show you. If I can get it out. Just got to kind of pry it out. There's one, two. There's the other one. So be careful with that, it just shot out. Alright. I'll have the glove back on for this. All I'm doing is pushing these bolts to hold the caliper and I'm pushing them out, taking them all the way out. They're the same size, so you don't have to worry about which one's which. There we go. Got the other one. Almost. There it is. And now you should be able to pretty much just rock the caliper back and forth, kind of pry with a big screwdriver. It should come off fairly easy. A little bit of work. found out that the squeaking, well, not necessarily what the problem is squeaking, but the pads seem to be on the other side were like really good. The rotors weren't bad. I don't know if it's just the quality of the part that the previous owner put on. So I just couldn't take it anymore. It was horrible. There we go. Yeah, so I don't know if you can see this or not. The pads, they're worn, but they're not that bad. For some reason, this side is more worn than the other, and a majority of the noise was coming from this side. All right, that's part of it. Now we have two 18mm bolts back here. Oh, I should probably mention not to let your caliper hang on. Just kind of set it out of the way while you're taking these off. I haven't had any issues so far getting bolts out, so luckily it's fairly easy. So I've been working on cars for roughly 15 years, you know, four-wheelers, motorcycles, and never really made a YouTube video. There's a lot of wasted time that I've spent doing this stuff by myself. And I could have been putting this stuff on YouTube, maybe helping everybody out. And I think I've already mentioned it, but this is the first BMW that I've owned. With as expensive as they are to take to the shop, I'm going to obviously be doing a lot of my own maintenance. Today, in fact, I'm actually doing both front brakes and rotors, as well as changing out the fog lights. There's mismatched fog lights on this one. One of the owners put a clear one on. I think they come with amber fog lights, or I'm not sure how that happened. If he put the wrong one in, or what he did. But so I'm replacing both of them right after I get this side done with the brakes. I'm gonna go ahead and do that. So there's your mounting bracket. Just came off, and you can see there's some contact points there. So I'm gonna clean those up with a wire brush. Maybe put like a little bit of a caliper grease on there, just to make sure that there's no buildup of anything. So I'll clean those up with a wire brush before I reinstall them. Then the next part is taking that 6mm, and taking out this caliper retaining bolt. I'm not really sure if that's what it's called, but that's the purpose of it. And the other one wasn't tight, so obviously this one wasn't either. Got a rubber mallet here that I'm using just to kind of help take this off. Okay. And I mean, there's still a lot of life left in this rotor. I'm not really sure what the deal is with the pads. Alright, so I'll be right back. I'm going to clean these parts up, and then we'll get back to reassembly.